Could an old familiar face be the solution the Lakers need at the center position? A new report linking them to Brook Lopez, but should he be under consideration for LA? Plus, another team has emerged on the center market as a potential landing spot and a competitor for the Lakers. Why that could be a little bit of a problem. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the LakersNation.com YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe right here. Going to be a busy summer. A lot of stuff for us to get into. All right, let's go hear a new report from Jerry Wolfel talking about Brook Lopez. Said an NBA executive believes Brook Lopez will have a pretty strong market in free agency. There'll be plenty of interest in him, the exec said. I'm sure the Lakers have already talked to him. Now, on Wolfel's tweet, he added the word cynically. The NBA exec said cynically, I'm sure the Lakers have already talked to him. So why is that cynically? Well, because you're not supposed to be talking to other teams' free agents right now per NBA rules. So he's kind of taking a little dig at the Lakers, saying, hey, the Lakers aren't exactly playing by the rules right now. Technically, Brook Lopez has a $23 million contract right now with the Milwaukee Bucks. He's under contract with another team, which means the Lakers or any other team cannot have those kind of conversations with him. But you know what? Like, let's be adults. Let's just tell the truth, right? If you are not talking to free agents right now, if you're not getting ahead of the game, well, then you're falling behind. Because let's face it, everybody is. It's the way that it goes. The NBA just doesn't want you to make it, outright and very obvious what you're doing. But there's no question. Teams are having these kinds of conversations beforehand, whether it's through back channels or whatever. But bottom line, should the Lakers actually be interested in Brook Lopez, as this NBA exec believes that they are and will be? Well, I mean, yes and no. Like the Lakers, they very clearly need a center, right? We know that. And Brook Lopez, a.k.a. Splash Mountain, brings a real skill set. I talked yesterday about Kristaps Porzingis and how he would make sense, and also why he wouldn't make sense as a target for the Lakers. Why go after a Kristaps Porzingis trade where you have to give up Rui Hachimura if you could sign Brook Lopez for maybe that taxpayer MLE of $5.1 million? Now, maybe he won't be available for that, but I would imagine that's probably going to be his price range. He sure as hell isn't getting the $23 million that he's getting right now, but he is still a legitimate three-point shooting big, 37% from deep on the season, can be a rim protector, can block shots. You are a bit relegated to just playing drop coverage defensively because he's not very quick-footed, but can protect the rim. Unfortunately, he's not where he used to be as a rim protector. In fact, last season and this season, it's been a noticeable drop-off from where he was in terms of how he affects field goal percentage at the rim compared to, say, 3 years ago. But again, he's 37 years old. So I think he could be an interesting stopgap option for the Lakers, right? And that's when we're kind of categorizing the Lakers' potential targets in two ways, two areas, where you've got the older guys who could be a center that could fill in and start right now, but are not long-term fits for the Lakers. And those are primarily free agents. We're talking about guys like Brook Lopez. We're talking about Clint Capella, maybe a Steven Adams, some of these older players, Al Horford, assuming that the Boston Celtics aren't going to have money to bring him back. Can Brook Lopez come in and for a season be your starting center, do a good job spacing the floor, block some shots, and in the meantime, you're finding your long-term fit? Sure, I think he can do that. I think he can be a stopgap. Is he your solution long-term? No, of course not. Not at 37 years old. So I think the way the market develops will be really important here for Brook Lopez and for the Lakers. If they find the right option, that's the long-term fit, that's probably going to have to come via trade. If you're going to find the long-term, we want this dude to be the center with Luka for the next 5 years, that type of player, you're probably going to have to do it on the trade front. Otherwise, if you don't find the right deal out there, a guy like Brook Lopez could make a lot of sense in addition to, Clint Capella or some of these other guys as a fallback, as a stopgap, as somebody that can be your center starting for at least a season. So should the Lakers have interest in Brook Lopez? Yes, as a safety net. That's really what he would be. If the right deal is not there, teams, everyone knows right now, the Lakers must get a 5. They have to get a center, and I personally think they need to get multiple centers. And that may create a difficult market to deal in where teams are trying to drive a hard bargain. So if you're the Lakers, you need to have these fallback options. Again, the Clint Capellas of the world, the Brook Lopez's of the world. You need these kinds of guys. So if a team is trying to drive a hard bargain, you can say, you know what? Screw it. We're not doing that deal. We're not overpaying for this guy. Instead, we're going to roll with Brook Lopez. We're going into the season. Maybe we'll find somebody by the trade deadline. Maybe it's next summer. We'll find the long-term solution next to Luka at another date if the right option simply isn't on the table right now. Now, the downside of that is you probably don't want to go to that August 2nd free agency signing or extension signing period that Luka Doncic has, where he can officially sign a deal with the Lakers and say, hey, look, the long-term center we got for you is Brook Lopez. But what you can do is say, hey, we got this guy for now, and we're going to continue looking. The Mark Williams thing didn't work out. We've got Brook Lopez for right now, or we've got Clint Capella or whoever for right now. We've got a center in there, and then we're going to proceed from there, and we're going to go find somebody else when the right deal comes along. So I do think it's important that the Lakers have options like Lopez out there on the market, but by no means is that the number one option. Their preference would be to find the long-term bouncy rim-running lob threat that Luka wants to play with for the next however many years. Now, the market is also expanding a bit here, and that's because now suddenly Jake Fisher threw this out there, and I was surprised to see this. One roster rumble that has emerged in the desert. Sources say that Phoenix, whether or not Durant is ultimately dealt before training camp, will be prioritizing the addition of a starting level center this offseason. The Suns want a further upgrade on the move they made during the season to deal away Jusuf Nurkic and replace him with Nick Richards via Charlotte. Remember, the Lakers were one of the teams that were in on Nick Richards. So the Suns went out there and got Nick Richards. They got the deal done. I know a lot of Lakers fans were frustrated when the Lakers didn't get Nick Richards. We didn't know at the time, I believe, that the Luka trade was coming. But nonetheless, the Suns go out there and get Nick Richards. And now they want another center. They want somebody else. And good on them, right? You should have multiple bigs, especially with the way today's NBA is going. You need multiple bigs. But the Phoenix Suns now a potential landing spot. So when we talk about these guys that are fallbacks for the Lakers, again, Clint Capella and Steven Adams and all these types of players, in addition to every other center that could be out there on the market, whether it's the trade market or the free agent market, and you look around at how many teams need centers, you feel kind of good if you're the Lakers, because you say, you know what? There's not a lot of teams that need centers right now. There's not a lot of landing spots for these guys, and the Lakers are probably the dream landing spot, the ideal landing spot, because you can step right into a starting role. Well, I'm not saying the Phoenix Suns offer a more attractive landing spot than the Lakers do, but the fact that they're out there as another option is just not ideal from the Lakers' perspective. If you're trying to get the best deal that you can and have the most optionality that you can at the center position, you don't want to see other teams popping up as landing spots for fives around the NBA, particularly one like Phoenix, where you thought, okay, that box is checked. They've got their guy. They've got Nick Richards. That's their center moving forward. They're going to go get a backup. No, now they want to make Nick Richards their backup and go find a starting caliber center. So maybe a little bit of a surprise there that Phoenix pops up as another landing spot on the center market and somebody that the Lakers are now going to have to compete with in order to get whatever centers they're going to go after. Again, whether it's via trade or via free agency. But Lakers Nation, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think about Brook Lopez as a potential target for the Lakers? Again, not as a long-term fit, but how do you feel about him as maybe a one-season stopgap type in the event that the bouncy rim-running center that we know Luka wants is not available on the trade market? Give me your thoughts in the comment section down below, and any thoughts on Phoenix suddenly emerging as another landing spot on the market? Could that be problematic for LA? Thanks again, everybody. Make sure you do subscribe right here to the channel, and I will be live tonight, 9 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be talking some Lakers basketball, so hope to see you then. Till next time, everybody. See ya, and stay safe.